Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to episode 2 of my new build garden transformation. In this video I'll show you how I extended my back garden perimeter and installed my CCTV. So back to my plot, and take notice where the developers placed the back garden fence. This meant that when I got the house I had a small back garden in comparison to a large front garden. I'm not someone who would ever really sit in or utilise my front garden, so it just felt right to move my garden fence, extending my back garden outwards and give me much more private space to work with back there. Now, I'll apologise in advance for the lack of video footage in this episode. This was right at the beginning of me documenting stuff, and I didn't pick up the camera as much as I would have wished I had today. Instead, I'll just try and talk you through the content I did get, so I hope you can visualise what I mean, but if not, feel free to pop any questions in the comment section below. Right, back to it. Firstly, to save money, I reused what I could from the original fence, such as the rails and the lats. And luckily, right when I was doing this project, my next door neighbour was fully replacing his back garden 4-foot fences, the same timber and design, just 2 foot shorter, and he kindly gave me the sections of fence that he was just going to get rid of, which saved me masses of money in timber costs. I therefore individually removed each lat from the rails and removed all the nails. A timely and tedious task, but the money I was saving was worth it. I couldn't reuse the fence posts for obvious reasons, so these were replaced as new 10-foot posts. The foundations for the posts were dug 2 foot deep. I used pre-mixed 20kg bags of postcrete by Blue Circle to secure each post. You literally just stand the post up in the dug hole, pour in the dry mixture and add water. It's as simple as that. It sets really quick as well, so make sure you have a spirit level ready to ensure the post is perfectly perpendicular before the mix goes off. While the mix was setting, the gate hinges were flipped around so that the gate would open from the driveway, and a string line was used to ensure that the fence rails were going to be square. The old fence rails could be reused, but I was short of one. You can see here where I've prized the old fence slats off of the rails and piled them ready to be used. Whilst I was out getting the last fence rail, I accidentally fell into the burger van queue. Standard. So, lack of footage, but one by one the fence lats were reattached. The full 6-foot lats were used first, and then the remaining 4-foot lats were cut to size to ensure the line where they met was kept central to the middle of the fence rail. You'll see what I mean here. Where the line is where the 4-foot lats meet. Obviously not the perfect fence, but it meant reusing materials, so less waste, and also saving a hell of a lot of money. It does the job, and I'm happy with the overall look. The only thing left to do here is to trim the posts down to 6 foot to be in line with the fence, and use a chalk line to mark where to trim the tops of these lats off to make them all in line. Moving on, the CCTV kit that I opted for was this Swan set that I saw in Costco. It seemed like a pretty simple install, so it went straight in my basket. About that simple install, wires just tangle for the crack, don't they? And nope, this isn't a child's drawing, this is my plan of how all the cameras would connect back to the main recording box. Once I had a good idea of where to start, I got out the big guns. I drilled from inside the house outwards, and it was simply pure luck that I came out where I did. I was then able to widen the hole with a bigger drill bit. To feed the mass amount of wiring outside, I used a draw tape fish wire, which is essentially a rigid but flexible wire. I poked it through the drilled hole from the outside and then went inside and taped the electrical wires to it and then pulled it back through from the outside. The electrical connections made it bulky, but with some gentle teasing it came out. I then fed the wires through a junction box and screwed this to the wall. I then started positioning the cameras where I wanted them and used electrical conduit to tidy and protect the wiring. The conduit I used was 25mm, wide enough to feed the wires and connections through. These wall fixings were available from the same section, as were various styles of junction boxes. You might remember these from my earlier artistic drawing. 3 down, 1 to go. Oh, and the spaghetti junction behind the telly to sort. Once the cameras were in place and everything was working, I sealed off all the electrical conduit joints with PVC cement. Use this at your own risk, that smell may get you high. But it's good, strong stuff. The junction box faces were then screwed on, making everything watertight, and more importantly on the inside, spider tight. And there we have a couple of the cameras in situ. I personally love the industrial look that the black conduit gives in contrast to the cream brickwork. Now I have 20/20 vision around my property and not a wire in sight. Success. Be right back while I add Lecky to the CV, as apparently I've saved myself a small fortune doing it myself. Here's a little sneak peek of the new CCTV capturing the continued graft of my garden renovation. Please like and subscribe so you can stay tuned for the remainder of the garden series to see how I go from this building site to my own little Mediterranean inspired garden. With love always, Dalton.